Alright, so it's been 3 years and we've had 4 raids. Personally, I believe that of the 4 raids, Wrath is the best. Let's talk about it. So before anything else, before mechanics, before bosses, before armor, before weapons, Wrath has a really good start over every other raid by being the last raid in Destiny. Because of that, it gets all the benefit of learning from past mistakes. And this raid, from what I've seen, appears to be pretty spotless on the cheese side. There aren't really a lot of cheese methods that I know about that stop this raid from being pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this commentary up into little bits, and we're going to start with weapons and armor. So after the Dark Below, Destiny had a really big problem with weapons. The endgame weapons had pretty shit perks. Things like Shank Burn and Army of One on the PoE weapons makes the endgame weapons feel like just boring old common Vanguard weapons that you could get from a Crucible package or a Vanguard package. And King's Fall had a cool new idea where the perks were randomized, but really all the weapons base stats were just awful, so it made the weapons not fun to use even if it had good perks, which it didn't. And not to mention the fact that the burns were gone, which made it even worse, and even less likely to be used outside of the raid. And even then it was only the Touch of Malice, and maybe the Smite of Rain. But in my opinion, that all changed with Wrath the Machine. Those raid weapons were off the goddamn hook. With already great weapon bases that they started off with being the gunsmith weapons, which in my opinion was a cool idea, taking weapons we know and upgrading them to raid weapon status. It was pretty good, pretty nice, I like it. And speaking of upgrades, just a quick side note, having weapons change as you upgrade them is amazing and it should really come back in Destiny 2. I like it a lot. Seeing Siva nodes grow on the side of your weapons and the holes that you had, and like seeing the sights change is so cool. So goddamn cool. Please come back in Destiny 2. But back to what I was saying. Perks like Focus Firefly and Triple Double and Sign of 4, all those perks are not only amazing for the raid, but also outside the raid. Hammering the Nexus with Chaos Dogma, or the Steel Medulla, or taking out Taniks with the Ex Machina, or taking out any boss for that matter with the Ex Machina. Just all the weapons were great inside and outside the raid. And moving on to armor. In my personal opinion, the Wrath of the Machine armor is some of the best non-Age of Triumph armor to come out of Destiny. The Warlock looks a little goofy, but the Titan Hunter look really good, and honestly fight for my love against the old Crota's End armor for Titan and the Vogue armor for Hunter. But that doesn't change anything. I love the weapons, I love the armor. What's the point of grinding for weapons if the raid is tedious and boring? Well, luckily in my opinion, the raid is super interesting and can always hold my attention whenever I play. So this raid has a pretty good mixture of bosses and encounters. We have two, technically four boss encounters, and 1 to 2 if you count the hatchery area in between the Death Zamboni and Axis Part 1. You have two normal encounters. Now personally, I'm more of a boss kind of guy. I like fighting bosses as long as the encounters are fun and not like King's Fall. No offense, I hate King's Fall. And to me, the Vostok's fight and Axis fight are fun. They require communication like King's Fall and all the other raids, but the mechanics are not hard to master and can be easily LFG'd, unlike King's Fall. At least for me. It's like pretty basic stuff. You just call out where you are, what's on the battlefield, what's happening around you, and usually you can have someone up back there to help you. You do damage to the boss. Yeah, I love the throwing ability you have where you throw the grenades at the enemies to lower their shields, and you have to do it perfectly timed. That's really cool, and it adds another synchronization aspect to raids, which again, more communication, but not annoying communication as I like to call it. And it's also a thing where it isn't just one person doing everything. Templar, one person is doing everything when you guys do DPS. Axis and Vostok's, everyone has to be doing something. You're always gonna have a job to do in this raid. You'll be empowered, you'll be taking out captains, you'll be a cannon user, you'll be a ball thrower. You're always gonna be working on something in the raid, and that's what I like about it. It makes it so everyone's busy. Instead of just standing around, everyone is working towards a common goal, but this time not only one person is doing most of the heavy lifting. Another really cool thing for me is how much the raid changes throughout the whole thing. We go from a normal Cosmodrome area to inside the walls to on top of the walls and then back down into the darkness. It reminds me a lot of King's Fall and Crota's End with the changes that happen around you. You go from outside on the moon into the dark depths and then into Crota's Throne World, which looks amazing. And same with King's Fall. You're through the dark and dirty parts of the Dreadnought and then come up to the end and you fight him at the very top of the ship, where you've seen in cutscenes, so it makes it even better. You're playing in a cutscene area, which I've always loved. But it just really adds on to it. It makes it feel like you're going through a journey as opposed to just standing in the same areas, same mossy covered rocks, same, dirty boulders and stuff like that. But hey, pretty sights don't mean shit if you're never getting anything from grinding out the raids. But like I said before, Wrath has the luck of being last, and has a super generous loot system, almost as good as Crota's End levels back in the Dark Below. And a key system that I also hope makes its way to D2, because it's a really easy way to get loot, and maybe it's just me imagining things, but I could have sworn I felt some smart loot when playing, because I always would get the thing I want, or at least like what I was looking for relatively. I got the Steel Medulla second hard mode raid, and I got the hand cannon first. I got all the armor for both my hunter and my titan pretty fast. Like I think there might be some sort of smart loot going in there. But anyways, of course this is all just an opinion, and of course there were people who love Bog and somehow love King's Fall. No offense, I'm sure I'd love it too if I had a consistent LFG team or a consistent team at all. Anyway, it doesn't matter which raid you like the best because all the raids are honestly just amazing experiences that everyone who plays Destiny should go through at least once. But anyways, this is Mr. Punquist from Heavy Ammo Bound signing out. I'll see you guys next time.